Good afternoon. Welcome to the November 14th Monday morning quarterback club meeting. We're fortunate enough to have Stallions head coach Skip Holtz with us today. We want to welcome him to our club and express our appreciation for being with us. We look forward to hearing what you have to say, Coach. And Coach just handed over his honorarium to us, so thank you for that generosity as well. So appreciate it for that. We have several special guests here today representing the USFL, Greater Birmingham Convention and Visitors Bureau, Birmingham City Council, Jefferson County Commission, Fox 6, and the Bruno event team. Additionally, we have two special guests representing the Alabama High School Athletic Association, Alvin Briggs and Kim Vickers. I'd like to thank our coaches and players for being here today as we celebrate High School Day. Please help me welcome all of our guests with a round of applause. As a friendly reminder, please silence your cell phones or just turn them off is even better. Please stand as Drew Gearhart comes forward for the invocation and the Pledge of Allegiance.
Let us pray. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for today. Thank you for our family and friends. Thank you for this wonderful club that allows us to serve many wonderful organizations around this great city. Please bless each one of them during this season of giving and help each one of us always keep a generous spirit about us. Thanks for all you do in our lives and bless this food and nourishing our bodies. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all.
Okay, as the normal tradition goes, let's hear what Sheldon Haygood has to say about this past weekend's action, and I think you're going to enjoy the SEC Shorts version this week.
On a cold day, nothing quite like a Gatorade shower. Carnell Williams enjoying one at Auburn. Chris Hatcher having some fun with Sanford. Hey to my friends at the Monday Morning Quarterback Club, what a difference a week makes. This time last Monday, we were talking about 3 losses in overtime. Today, nothing but winners. Let's start down on the plain. Robbie Ashford with a first half touchdown pass, and on the ground, the Tigers rushed for more than 280 yards to end a 5-game losing streak, 13-10 win to give interim head coach Carnell Williams his first victory.
I'm so appreciative of all the family. The need fans.
Western Kentucky.
They showed up and showed out, man. I love serving these young men, man. It's coaching staff. It's bigger than me. It's just not my show, man. We are together. We family.
The celebration was crazy down on the field as well as at Toomers. Auburn is now 4-6. Bryce Young threw 3 touchdown passes, and Alabama scored on 4 consecutive possessions spanning the second and third quarters, rallying to beat Ole Miss 30-24.
It's personal in terms of how you play and how you compete in a game to try to dominate the guy you're playing against. And I saw a lot of that in the second half, so we took a step in the right direction.
The win improves Bama to 8-2. However, the Tide is eliminated in the race for the SEC West Division crown. Checking in with UAB, the Blazers hosting North Texas on Senior Day at Protective Stadium. Dwayne McBride setting the single-season school record with his 17th rushing touchdown, and the Blazers win big 41-21 to improve to 5-5. Back to the SEC, a couple of big stories to talk about. First, Vanderbilt. I know, right? The Commodores ended a 26 SEC game losing streak, upsetting Kentucky 24-21. And then there's LSU clinching the SEC West in a spot in the conference title game as LSU survived a trip to Fayetteville, beating Arkansas 13-10. In Atlanta next month, LSU will play Georgia as the Dogs clinch its spot as QB Stetson Bennett threw for 3 touchdowns and undefeated Georgia beat Mississippi State 45-19. Hendon Hooker threw for 355 yards and 3 touchdowns and also ran for a score to lead Tennessee back in the win column with a 66-24 victory over Missouri. Anthony Richardson accounted for 3 touchdowns. Montrell Johnson Jr. ran for a career-high 161 yards and a score. Florida steamrolled South Carolina 38-6. Michael Hires once again put up some gaudy numbers, 353 yards with 4 touchdowns in the air and a rushing score. Sanford takes down Chattanooga 35-24 to claim the SoCon title with a 9-1 record. Jacksonville State University had close to 340 yards rushing and scored 6 touchdowns on the ground as JSU slammed Eastern Kentucky 42-17. Jack State is now 8-2. Birmingham Southern on the road at Rhodes College. Panthers get points on its opening drive, a Zach Ford field goal, but that's it for the game. BSC goes down 20-3 to drop to 7-3. Troy continues to find its winning ways. The Trojans rally to beat Army 10-9, and the Troy is now 8-2 on the season. Hard to believe, but we're coming down the stretch, and we've got one more week of action coming your way, so next Monday, I'll see you then.
I really don't see what's so hard about it. Go on the road, start your backup quarterback, and convert a 4th and 11 and win. Easy peasy.
Hey, Texas A&M, you want some cake?
Does it have cyanide in it?
I don't think so.
I'm good, thanks.
Okay, teams, gather around. It's time to select this season's SEC division winners. This year, we're gonna try something a little bit different. Whichever team be worthy will pull the sword from the turf and be crowned division winner.
So we just gotta pull that out of the thing.
That's it. But be wary. It could be harder than...
I'll make this quick. I know we all have things to do. Okay, so the trick is you want to lift with your legs and not your back. All right, here we go. Any second now.
I don't think it's moving.
I felt it budge.
It didn't budge.
Preseason unanimous division champs. The thing is coming out.
Well, why don't we let another team try?
Oh, the second I stop pulling, the sooner I have to realize the cold, dark reality that the same dynasty is in its fading twilight years.
Okay, who's next? Kentucky, preseason top 10?
Oh, yes! Let him go! The only thing my man's pulling out of that is defeat out of certain victory. Pass. Spencer Rattler was supposed to be a good quarterback. He was on Netflix.
Missouri?
Under the code. For many moments we have been down, forgotten, dismissed. So I shall wield this sword with great power, and mine.
Okay, we have our East Division winners. Now let's see if we can find that West Division winner, okay?
We're gonna do this again for the playoff top 4 again, right? Because we all saw the Pac-12 implode tonight, right? Because we're definitely in.
If only we'd been rolling with Coach Caddy from week 1. I feel like it's moving.
It's not moving.
Oh, just once in my life, let me go to Atlanta. I never have to play anything.
Yeah, we're still a quarterback away from trying that.
Okay, well, I guess that's everyone.
No.
I'll try.
LSU?
Missing the extra points lately?
Yeah, we almost beat these losers with Harsin.
Hey, what accent is Brian Kelly adopted this week? Yeah, SEC Shorts called that guy out for being a clown in week 1, and their commentary this season has been spot on.
Maybe you should wait until year 2 of the rebuild.
SEC West Division winner on the road.
Alexa, play neck.
This episode was brought to you by Renaissance Bank, understanding you.
Thanks to Sheldon Haygood again for providing our weekly highlights. Next week's speaker is Takeo Spikes, and I don't know if many of you have heard Takeo speak before. You see him on SEC, but he is a fantastic speaker and will light the room up for Iron Bowl week, I promise you. All guest reservations should be made by the close of business on Friday. All right, now a brief fundraising update. We have now raised just under $1.5 million and are just a few dollars short of beating last year's record. That's congratulations to everybody involved. That's a huge number, 1.5 million. We had some standout players of the week. The largest donation was Clarence Pouncey, $10,500. Thank you for that, Clarence. Most contributions, not surprising here, Charlie Reagan with 12 donations. Freshman of the week, we had a tie with Daniel Murray and Taylor Alexander. Our offensive coordinator of the week was Taylor McElroy with $12,600. And defensive coordinator Jack Brown with $6,800. So thank everybody for all you're doing on our fundraising. It's really been a great year. Okay, today is election day. I know we thought last Tuesday was election day, but today is election day for our club. And as we did last year, you're going to vote electronically this year. Michelle sent ballots out a few minutes ago, so they'll be waiting for you at your office. I'd like to once again announce the proposed slate for next year's team. Captain is alternate captain Stan Blanton. Alternate captain will be Dan Lovell. Freshman coach John Smith. Treasurer Tommy Sisson. And program chair Chris Nix. We have 5 slots available to be voted on for the at-large members of our team. You'll choose out of those 8, you'll choose 5 of these players. Will Baker, John Coleman, Will Davis, David Dowd, Pat Henry, Parker Israel, David Malone, and Wesley Willings. We will close the election at noon on Thursday, and I will announce the results at our final meeting next Monday. Thank you in advance for your participation in this. It's important, and I hope everybody will get out and vote. Okay, the Monday Morning Quarterback Club is a long and proud tradition of supporting high school football. With this being our annual high school week, I'd like to call on Chris Nix to give us an update on the Super 7, as well as a special presentation to our talented high school athletes here with us today.
Thank you, Captain Miller. 2 weeks ago, 208 teams from across our great state began the road to Auburn and Jordan-Hare Stadium for Super 7. As of today, only 52 teams remain, including numerous teams here from the Birmingham area. Super 7 will be held November 30th through December 2nd at Jordan-Hare Stadium in Auburn. As we do annually, we will recognize the metro area teams for making the 2022 HSA playoffs. Before I introduce the teams, I want to recognize 2 individuals here with us today from the HSA. Executive Director Alvin Briggs and Associate Executive Director Kim Vickers. Let's recognize them. Alvin and Kim both work tirelessly to ensure our student athletes across the state have world-class experiences across all HSA championships. I also want to recognize Drew Ferguson. Drew, I saw Drew earlier. Drew, stand up. If you can. Drew's been in the hospital and been under the weather and back with us. Drew, we're glad to have you back. Drew spends every year at Super 7 with Children's of Alabama as honorary captains. It's an incredible experience for the kids and these families. He's been doing it tirelessly for many years. Drew, we're glad to see you today, and thank you for what you do. All right, I'm going to recognize the teams. Coaches, please stand, and players come up. Kim and Alvin, y'all want to go down there and get a picture. Let's recognize with an applause at the end. Hold the applause till the end. So players come up as I call your name. I'll begin with 2A, Vincent, Coach Lucas Weatherford, player Blake Allums. All right, we'll move to 5A, Fairfield, Coach Shepard Scanes, player Jeremiah Hudson. Leeds, Coach Jerry Hood, player Nick Bradford Sr. Are they here today? Couldn't make it. Moody, Coach Jake Gaines, player Cole McCarty. Pleasant Grove, Coach Darrell LeBeau, player Brylan Jordan. Ramsey, Coach Ronnie Jackson. Did they make it? All right, moving to 6A, Calera, Coach Jason Hamlin, player Michael Benson. Center Point, Coach George Bates, I don't believe made it. Clay Chalkville, Coach Drew Gilmer, did not make it. Gardendale, Coach Chad Eads, player Tyler Nelson. Homewood, Coach Ben Bergeson, player Woods Ray. Hueytown, Coach Greg Patterson, player Earl Woods. Jackson Olin, Coach Jamal Bess. McAdory, Coach Arabia Holmes, player Rod Thomas. Mountain Brook, Coach Chris Yeager, player Trent Wright. Parker, Coach Frank Warren, player Khalifa Keith. Pelham, Coach Mike Vickery, player Jamal Miles. Pinson Valley, Coach Lee Guess, player Amari Thomas. Moving to 7A, Hewitt Trustful, Coach Josh Floyd, player Trace Wilbanks. Hoover, Coach Wade Waldrop, player KJ Law. Thompson, the athletic director Vincent Pitts is here, and player Peter Woods. And finally, Vestavia Hills, Coach Robert Evans, player John Paul Head. Let's give a round of applause. Congrats to each of those teams, especially you first-year coaches. I know there's numerous first-year coaches, and we look forward to doing this again next year for all of you. In closing, I'd like to thank club members David Dowd, Wesley Willings, Chris Jewell, and of course Michelle McIntyre for the leadership a year ago for the club's Super 7 volunteer efforts at Protected Stadium. The event was a huge success with record crowds, and we look forward to it returning to Protected in 2 short years. We had over 120 volunteers from our club, and I believe it was a great experience to have the high school championships back here in Birmingham. For a quick recap, let's roll the video of last year's Super 7.
Smile, a weapon of choice when pushing the line. Go overtime and I won't
Okay, thank you very much for that. Chris did a great job last year with us, the Super 7, and I for one, look forward to being back here in a couple of years where I think our club can play an even bigger role, but that was really, really good stuff there. All right, I'd like to welcome today's poor picker, Scott Myers, up. Scott?
Thank you. That's very kind. Coach, first of all, I want to congratulate you on the championship last year. That's big for our city. And I took the opportunity to call your dad to see if I could get him on video, but I couldn't get him on video this week. I wanted to follow Eric. You know, Eric had Peyton Manning, so I thought maybe I could get your dad on. But he just told me to make sure to tell everybody to laugh at Coach's jokes, okay? So if Coach tells any jokes, make sure y'all laugh at them. I did find it interesting. I think a lot of our club doesn't realize that your dad played at Kent State, and Coach Saban played at Kent State, so that's a unique thing. Two great coaches played at a Ohio school that's not Ohio State. And, of course, you have another connection to our club through Coach Bowden, who grew up here in Birmingham. So thankful you're here. Guys, I really enjoy this week to see all the high school coaches and the high school players here. So I thought I'd look on the internet and find some pictures of your coaches when they play, because I know a lot of times you're thinking, does my coach really know what he's doing? And unfortunately, I didn't find any good photos of your coaches. I think they've screened them all out. But I did find a clip that a lot of you guys are probably thinking and what your coaches are sometimes thinking. So can we cue that up, Eric? Can we show this quick video?
Hey, Coach, is there anything you want to change?
I mean, I don't know what you want me to tell that. Everybody's like, football is a team game, okay? It's not a team game, okay? I did my part, all right? I put in a great game plan. I mean, these players, they're horrible. My players are no good. I mean, everyone's like, no excuses. I got 22 excuses, 11 on my offense and 11 on my defense. Our offensive coordinator is terrible. He gets half of his plays off of Madden rookie mode. I mean, the guy is no good. You know, our offensive line, it's like Obama's immigration policy. Let everybody through. Do we have a chance next week? No, we don't. We're 0-8. We're not good at football. I got 3 white receivers. Our red zone defense is like Oprah. Like, you get a touchdown, you get a touchdown, you get a touchdown. Our quarterback, look at the playbook. We put in plays for Peyton Manning. He plays like Cooper Manning. I mean, the guy's just not good at football. No credit to the other team, okay? The other team is awful. We tried to recruit bigger, better players to come play for us, but they went to good schools. I put in the game plan. These kids can't execute. Third down, terrible. I know we need better players. I get it. We can't win with the product we got in the field here. Like, I'm down to Rick Pitino some guys if I need to, but not at this level. I'm not going to jail for these kids. I mean, they're all talking in the locker room like, we're a team. We're in this together. No matter what happens, we're together. Like, not me, dude. I'm out of here. This team's terrible.
Sure that none of you players can equate to that. Well, that'll move us right into the poor pickers here. So this is a thing our club does every week to pick college games, and this is a great group of losers here. John Williams, Stephen Phillips, Bill Jacka Sr., Andrew Loveman, Sean Lowe, Jay Caston, but the winner at 29%, Scott Birdie. Scott, come on up. 29%. Yeah. So this is what he gets to put on his head and get his picture taken with, because those picks were.
There you go, Scott.
Look right over at the photo. Get a picture made. Oh, Coach, will you sign that ball real quick? Okay, now for the winner with some people that actually may watch football. We've got Kevin Kiner, David Green, Dick Coffey, Brad Moffitt, but at 88%, Tate Davis. Tate, are you here? Are you ready? You got it? There we go. All right, thank you guys. Hey, all the best. Congratulations to all of you guys, especially the Homewood Patriots. Let's go.
Thank you, Scott. Well done. Oh, I'd like to welcome a special guest to the podium, Wardine Alexander, Birmingham City Council, if she would join us.
Good morning. It is truly an honor to be here today and to represent the members of the Birmingham City Council. Let me start by bringing greetings from Mayor Randall Whiffen. I would not be here if he did not have a date at the White House tomorrow. So this is the only reason I'm here with you, okay? So I will be short and brief. I would like to start by acknowledging the members of the Birmingham City Council that are here with us today. If you all will please stand and just say hey to everybody. We've been serving together for this past year along with Mayor Whiffen, and it has truly been an honor to serve the residents of the city of Birmingham. Our community embraced the USFL and the Birmingham Stallions last year, and we rallied behind them as they won the USF Championship. Who would have thought it? We bring all these teams, we put them in a bubble, we create a whole new team and a league, and we put it all on TV. How about that? We're just excited that we were a part of this unique opportunity for our fans and for residents to participate in this sport. So we thank you very much. You may wonder, now why is the president of the Birmingham City Council giving that shout out to Coach LeBeau, Darryl LeBeau at Pleasant Grove? Well, I want to thank him and the other young coaches that are here today. I'm a coach's daughter, so I know just enough about football to be a little dangerous. How about that, okay? But I just do want to thank Coach LeBeau, and I onboarded him, and he was gonna have a career in laboratory medicine. Aren't you glad he left that company and he went right on and followed his dreams? So thank you, Coach, and thank all the coaches that are here. We know the commitment that you all bring, and also to these athletes. So I am just gonna be brief and say, we've been excited to be a part of the USFL. We thank you, Coach. I thank the Monday Morning Quarterback Club. It's an opportunity and a great honor to be here with you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Now it is my privilege to introduce the head table. I ask that each of you stand as I introduce you and remain standing until we've all been introduced. Please hold your applause till the final one. David Dowd, Dartmouth, Byrne Foreman. Alvin Briggs, Executive Director of Alabama High School Athletic Association. Chris Nix, Alabama, Knight Eady. Scott Myers, Samford, Alabama Sports Hall of Fame. Stan Blanton, alternate captain, Alabama, Balsham Bingham. Drew Gearhart, Alabama, Waverly Advisors. Wardine Alexander, President of the Birmingham City Council. Thank you all for being here today and joining us. Today is another tradition. We have Cole has the privilege of introducing our guest speaker.
Hi, my name is Cole Murphy, and I am 7 years old. I was diagnosed with leukemia when I was 3 years old. I took my last chemo pill on May 23rd, 2022. I got my port removed July 18th. I had to wait 2 weeks for it to heal, and I got to play tackle football when I got it taken out, and that made me happy. I have always wanted to play tackle football and want to be a quarterback and wide receiver. Mr. Skip Holtz, it is my privilege to introduce you to my Monday Morning Quarterback Club. Coach Holtz played wide receiver at Notre Dame. His path to Birmingham was obviously well paved. Coach Holtz wears a lot of hats for the Birmingham Stallions. These roles include head coach, offensive coordinator, quarterback coach, and general manager. Before coaching the Stallions, Mr. Holtz gained experience with many other programs, including Connecticut, South Carolina, East Carolina, South Florida, Louisiana Tech, and others. Coach Holtz was able to lead the Stallions to victory in the inaugural first season of the USFL. He mentions that his favorite part of coaching is making relationships with the players, and this season was no different. Coach Holtz was passionate about surrounding himself with players who are passionate and display professionalism for the game. Please welcome Mr. Skip Holtz, and thank you, Monday Morning Quarterback Club, for everybody.
Let's give a warm welcome to Coach Skip Holtz.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Wow, who was that good-looking sucker on that little card, huh? Who was that guy? Full head of hair, young, ready to go. Wow. Well, let me just say it's an honor to be here and to have the opportunity to stand here as the head football coach of the Birmingham Stallions. And as congratulations goes out to all these coaches and players that had an opportunity to stand up. You know, as coaches, sometimes we have a chance to be the duck that floats on top of the water, kind of looking effortlessly. But there's a whole lot of players that are paddling like hell underneath to make this thing go round. You know what I mean? And I am no exception. My father always taught me, if you ever see a turtle on a fence post, he didn't get there alone. You know what I mean? He had a lot of help to get there, and I certainly had help to do what we were able to do this year with the Birmingham Stallions. I want to thank the people of Birmingham, the city council, everybody involved for what pulled off was an absolutely incredible, amazing feat to be one of the first leagues to complete a spring football season since the early 80s when the USFL did it the first time. I also think I'm privileged to have a player here that many of you may know, Bo Scarborough. I'd like for him to stand as our running back, who is an Alabama graduate. He's an unbelievable player, and you look at him, he's 240 pounds, he's a tailback. Having the opportunity to call plays with a guy like that, I became a lot better play caller. You know what I mean? When you're giving the ball to somebody like Bo Scarborough. But even more so, what an incredible person, what an incredible leader. So it's been a privilege for me to have the opportunity to work with you, Bo, and we certainly are glad that you were able to be here with us tonight, or today. Need to thank Cole. Wow, unbelievable. I'd like to get with Cole. I mean, I would really like to get with Cole, and I can't thank him enough for the kind words and everything that he said. But I'm going to talk. I'm not going to put everybody to sleep. I know we got to be done by 1 o'clock, so I'll make sure that I talk fast to get my 2-hour speech in 24 minutes here as we go through this. But the game of football, thank you to everybody in this room for what you helped promote. I think this is the greatest game on the planet. For many, many reasons, and I have been involved in this game for 58 years. I was very fortunate as a little kid to grow up with a father who coached. And when I was in the 7th grade, I'd lived in 7 states. I was born in Connecticut, went South Carolina, went Ohio, Virginia, North Carolina, New York, Arkansas, and then I was in the 7th grade. I thought we were running from the IRS. I had no idea football coaches moved around that much, but we had an opportunity to move around a lot, but incredible experiences for me. I remember when we lived in Ohio, my best friend across the street was of Indian descent. And Dad left Ohio State to go to William & Mary, which happens to be the Indians. And I was so excited that I was going to be an Indian too. You know what I mean? To tell him, it's like, hey, I'm going to be an Indian too. And I have had the opportunity to move around an awful lot and be very blessed. But more than anything, growing up around this game, I had an opportunity to be around my heroes. I went to, when Dad was the head coach of the Jets, I was in the 7th grade. Had a chance to work fall camp, and the quarterbacks of the Jets at that time were Joe Namath and Richard Todd, 2 Alabama boys. And I remember I was walking from practice one day over to the dining hall, and a red convertible Eldorado pulled up next to me. And it said, "Are you going to eat?" And I said, "Yeah." And he said, "Get in." And it was Joe Namath. And I got in all excited, and I said, are we going over to eat training table? And he said, "I don't eat that garbage." So we went to Jack in the Box and got a good burger and fries, you know what I mean? Something that winners eat. But just had the opportunity to grow up around my idols. I was that, the little eyes upon you, and I was those little eyes that was always looking up. Remember when I was in the 8th grade, Dad was coaching at Arkansas, and we played Alabama. Arkansas played Alabama in the Sugar Bowl. And so one morning, Dad said to me, he said, Skip, you want to go to breakfast? And I said, sure, I'll go with you. Well, we went to breakfast, and we met Bear Bryant. And so I had an opportunity to sit there as an 8th grader and eat breakfast with Bear Bryant and Lou Holtz. What a treat. I've just been incredibly blessed. And when we were done, my father said, he said, Skip, do you have anything you'd like to ask Coach Bryant? And I said, yeah, Coach Bryant, as a young guy that would love to get into this business, what advice would you give me? He said, Skip, I'd tell you to be at the right place at the right time. As an 8th grader, I thought that was the dumbest advice I'd ever heard in my life. It was like, how do you know when the right place, when the right time is? How do you know when that is? And I had somebody ask me about a year ago what advice I'd give them, and I'd say, I'd tell you to be at the right place at the right time. You know, as you get older, you start to understand what that is all about. And so I have just been blessed to grow up around this great game. I had the privilege of playing this great game. And I played at Notre Dame, had an opportunity to play for my father. My senior year, my father came to Notre Dame, and I had a chance to play for him, which was an incredible experience for me. And I know just the bond that gets built in playing this game, and the sacrifice, the commitment, the hard work, and the way that it brings everybody together. I've still got one of my longest text feeds on my phone is 19 of my teammates from 35 years ago that we are still on text together and staying in touch with each other and how it goes. My father would tell you that his wife's son roughed the punter when we were out at Southern Cal. Well, I would never take blame for that, but that was certainly me. It's a crazy thing. We're at Southern Cal, and I was designed to come off the edge, and I took a poor angle, and I ended up roughing the kicker, roughing the punter. And I remember as I was laying face down in the grass, and as I heard everybody scream in the Coliseum, I knew it wasn't for Notre Dame. And I kind of got up as I took all the yellow flags off of my body. And I started to jog over the sideline, and there was this little guy about 5'10", speaks with a lisp, who was giving me one of these with his hands to come over. So I jogged over to the sideline, and I made a big mistake. I took my helmet off. And he grabbed both my ears. I think he was just trying to get my attention. I don't think he wanted to really hurt me. But he started, gave me a very stern speaking to. When he was done, he said, now, tell me what happened. I said, didn't you hear it? And he grabbed me again. I was like, all right, that wasn't very smart. But I have had just great experiences being around this game, playing this game, and now having the opportunity to coach this game. I've been an assistant for 12 years in college. I've been a head coach for 22 years. And I have so many stories that you could tell, positive, funny, negative, but more than anything else, the one thing that I love about this game and being involved with it my entire career, it's been the development of the young men that we have the opportunity to influence. It's having the opportunity to be around these young men, watch them come in at 17, 18 years old, bring them together and watch them grow and mold and develop. That is the rewarding thing for me, is the development of college football, professional football, and what it does to help people, to get your feet on the ground, to build confidence. So many lessons that are learned. But the biggest thing that I have found in coaching professional football this year is it's different coaching a 28-year-old man than it is a 17 or 18-year-old as they are starting to grow and develop. But whether you're coaching professional, college, high school, regardless of whether you're a head coach or an assistant coach, coaching is all about getting everybody on the same page. I'm going to show you how easy this is for everybody. I want everybody to take your hands, put your hands 6 inches apart, okay? Oh, you're going to be involved. No sleeping on this lunch hour, okay? What we're going to do is we're going to get out on a snap count. Excuse me. And I'm going to say ready, set, hit. It's hit, not hut. Hut is what Gilligan lived in on an island. Hit is what we're about to do to our opponent. All right? So I'm going to say ready, set, hit. And on hit, we're all going to clap our hands, see if we can get off on the same page. This is how easy coaching is, okay? Here we go. So we go ready, set, hit. So easy. One clap. Here we go. One more time. Ready, set, hit. Okay, now let's do it on two. Now we're going to go on two. You got to mix the cadence up. D-line get big, they get fast. Here we go. Let's go again. We're going on two. Here we go. Ready, set, hit, hit. Okay, two. That's called bad coaching. You know what I mean? That's bad coaching. 2 is the second hit, okay? 2 is the second hit. Try it one more time. We can get this one right. Here we go. Ready, set, head, head. There you go. See how easy it is? Now, offense goes on cadence. What's the defense go on? Ball, movement, visual. All right, now, get those hands back out. Here we go. I'm going to swing my hand back and forth, and when one hand crosses the other one, I want you to clap your hands. So when you say, okay, couple get it. There you go. I didn't describe it very well. So when this passes the top, there we go. Let's try it again. That's it. Now we're getting it. So you can see we go on visual cadence. See how easy this game is? Get everybody on the same page? But it is definitely, like I said, for me, it has been a blessing to have an opportunity to coach this game. But let me share with you real quick, and I don't want to take too long, but something that I believe in deeply. And one of the things that I always get is, what is the biggest lesson you've learned from this game? What are some of the biggest lessons that you've been taught? And to many of the young people that are here, we all have our own take on this, but from my standpoint and being involved for the game for 58 years, this is what I've really taken away from it. We all have physical attributes, and there are 3 different ways that you can evaluate an athlete. One is the physical attribute. Some people say, you know what, he's 6'4", he's 248 pounds, he runs a 4.4 40, but that doesn't make you a great football player. What that does is those are your physical attributes. Those are your size, your speed, those type of things. So we all have a physical trait that we have, just like we all have different talents in life. But we all have separate talents when you look at it. When you look at the, 1, it's physical traits. 2, it's the preparation and practice of an athlete. Where are they from a conditioning standpoint? Where are they from a fundamental standpoint? The fundamental skills to play each position. Catching the ball as a wide receiver isn't just reaching out and grabbing it. It's not trapping it. It's catching it. It's creating a noose with your hands, letting the ball come to you. Playing offensive lineman is not about being big and strong. It's about having a base, staying square, hand placement, being on the proper shoulder, whether you've got contain or to make sure that you maintain your gap. A lot of things go in to the fundamental side of this game. But I think when you look at this, I think where it really comes into play is when you start to look at the intangible things. Because that's where I think success is developed, is in the intangible things. Intangible things, attitude, effort, accountability, passion, leadership, love of the game, work ethic, focus, mental toughness, commitment, determination, persistence. I think that's where you develop a football team. And there's, like I said, I'll breed some stories into this as I talk about it, but I am a big believer that the power of choice, the greatest gift that God gave us, the second greatest gift God gave us, is the power to choose. The greatest gift He gave us was His Son. But the second greatest gift He gave us is the power to choose. And every day we have choices to make. We get to choose our intangibles. We choose our attitude every single day. And you can be, there's a lot of people that are 6'4", 250 pounds that run 4.4 that aren't great football players, that don't make a living on it. Because it's not just about physical and it's not just about practice, but it's the attitude that we take every day. Just like, why are some people successful in banking or some people successful at a law school, etc. We all have a talent, we all have a motivation to do it, but we all have to choose our attitude every single day. And so when you start to look at it, I believe that my father taught me this: what you're capable of doing is determined by your talent. That's your bar. That's how high you can get. When people always say, you know what, he overachieved. Is there such thing as overachieving? Can you go higher than your talent allows you to go? You could certainly underachieve, which I think is the worst thing that anybody could ever say about you, is that he underachieved. He had all this talent and he never did anything with it, whether that be on the football field or in life. So when you look at it, what you're capable of doing is determined by your talent. What you actually do is determined by your motivation. But how well you do is determined by your attitude. If that statement is true, then we get to choose whether we succeed or fail every day. We get to choose our attitude when we get out of bed. We get to decide whether we're going to be positive or negative, whether we're going to act or procrastinate, whether we're going to help or heal. We have an opportunity every single day to make decisions. And so when I had the opportunity to coach professional football players for the first time, I know they all came from these great programs and they're all fundamentally developed and they're these specimens and they're this great talent, but every team in this league had talent. Every team got to draft the same amount of people. Everybody got in a draft order. Everybody had talent, so talent wasn't going to be the difference. Everybody was there for a purpose. We had a lot of motivated players in this league. That wasn't going to be the difference. But what was our attitude and what were we going to be like with our intangibles on a day-to-day basis? And that's what we talked about in order for us to be able to have some success. Charles Swindoll said that life is 10% of what happens to you and 90% of how you react to it. And so much of that becomes the attitude that we have on a day-to-day basis. So how do you maintain a positive attitude with what you're doing? How do you maintain a positive attitude? First thing you've got to do is you got to be able to overcome adversity. Everybody that's ever had success has had to overcome adversity, whether that's in a football game from the beginning to the end, whether that's in a football season, whether that's in a day, the life of a businessman here in Birmingham. Everybody has to overcome adversity because when we first come to camp, everybody's got a positive attitude. Everybody's going to win. Every team in the state of Alabama expected to be sitting where you guys are now. And how many teams did you say were left? 52 were left. Everybody expected to still be in this, but now there's only 52. And what that means is that everybody came on the first day. Everybody wanted to achieve a championship. Everybody wanted to have success. But somewhere along the lines, when you get into week 3, 4, 5, when you've lost a couple games, what's your attitude like then? When people get down on you, what's your attitude like then? Because that's where this game starts to teach you the toughness that it's going to take. But you've got to go through a game, a season, a career, a life, and being persistent and being passionate with what you do. But I think the most important thing that we can do is surround yourself around people that care. If you want to overcome adversity, you better surround yourself around people that care. When things get hard, you want to be on a team where people care enough to pick each other up. Everybody can give up their own individualism. Everybody can give up their ego for the good of this team and what we have to do in order to win. But in order to have success, in order to maintain that positive attitude, you've got to be able to overcome adversity. There is a book Joshua Metcalf wrote called Chop Wood, Carry Water. And I think it's one of the great books. I've read it with a number of teams that I've had. And I would encourage you to sit down and read it. It is a great book about life and attitude and what it's going to take on a day-to-day basis in order to get to where you want to be. But it all starts by surrounding yourself around people that care. Because people are going to do one of two things. They're either going to inspire you or they're going to drain you. Pick your friends wisely with what you're doing, because when adversity hits, you want to make sure you have people that you can trust. The second thing you have to do is you have to have a sense of purpose. You have to have goals. Sit down and set lofty goals. One of the things my father did for me when I was a young man, he gave me a book. He gave me a book, The Magic of Thinking Big. And he said, Skip, I want you to read this book. And I said, all right, Dad, thanks. I got it. And I put it on my nightstand. I didn't open it for about 6 months. And he said, Skip, I want you to bring me a book report on that book I gave you, and I'll give you $100. The next day it was read and written, and I went to go present it to him. But what I learned in that book, it's all about the magic of thinking big, is to set lofty goals. Why does the thrill of soaring like an eagle have to begin with the fear of falling? An eagle doesn't learn to fly by being on the ground and jumping 4 feet and then 12 feet and then saying, hey, I get it. But an eagle nest is way up in the air. And the book all talks about how the greatest gift as a coach, as a parent, you can give a young person is to push them out of the nest when you feel like they're ready, to learn what those wings are all about. And why does the thrill of soaring like an eagle effortlessly up in the sky begin with the fear of falling? Why does the thrill of accomplishing championships and great things begin with the fear of failing? People are afraid to set lofty goals because what if I don't make it? I told somebody today, our only goal that we had going into this season with the Birmingham Stallions was we are guaranteed 10 games. We want to win every one of them. We want every time we go out on that field, we didn't talk about we want to win the trophy. We didn't talk about we want to win the division. We didn't want to, it wasn't about stats and we want to win on offense or defense. One goal, win. We're playing the game as a team. We want to come out with the W. We went 9-1 in the regular season. Did we fail? Sometimes when you shoot for the stars and you hit the moon, do you fail? And then we went on to the semis of the championship and we were able to win it. But set lofty goals for yourself and what you do. Have goals. Have a reason to get out of bed in the morning to go do what you do. You don't want to just get out of bed and say, well, I got to go to work. No. I get the opportunity to go to work. I get the opportunity to go to practice to get better today. We get the opportunity to go grow as a team because especially for many of the players in this room, these days are going to end. I never thought they would when I was in high school, but here I am looking back 40 years later. Those days end. That goes away. Cherish every moment you have having the opportunity to play this game because it can be taken away from you in an instant. And so you always want to sit down. You want to overcome adversity by surrounding yourself around people that care. 2, you want to have a sense of purpose and you want to have goals. And 3, you want to have a positive self-image. You want to believe in yourself. Everybody today believes that a positive self-image has to do with the way everybody perceives you. When a positive self-image has everything to do with how you perceive yourself. And in this day and age with young people, with social media and with Twitter, I put something out on Twitter and my daughter was like, Dad, that's really cool. You got like X number of likes. Well, honey, my day isn't going to change because of how many people liked the tweet I put out. That doesn't have anything to do with whether or not it was the tweet that I needed to put out or not put out. It's all about how you perceive yourself. I have a picture in my office. It's a chess piece. Many of you might have seen the picture. It's a chess piece. It's a pawn. And he's standing in front of the mirror. And in front of him is a king. And it's the way you see yourself when you look in the mirror. You don't need to answer to anybody on the outside. You have to be able to answer to yourself. And if you have a positive self-image and you have lofty goals and you're surrounded around a group of people, all of common goal and what they're trying to do and what they're trying to accomplish, then winning becomes a lot easier process along the way. I've had the opportunity to coach some great players. We talk about talent. I want to make sure I don't go over. Only got a couple minutes here. I had the opportunity to coach a guy named Chris Johnson. I don't know how many of you have heard of him. He was a running back that we had at East Carolina University. Chris Johnson always used to say to me, Coach, who's the fastest guy you've ever coached? I'd say, who? I don't know. I'd probably say Rocket Ishmael or Deion Sanders. When I was at Notre Dame coaching Rocket Ishmael, when I was at Florida State with Coach Bowden, having the opportunity to coach Deion Sanders. It's like, Coach, I'm faster than those guys. I said, no, Chris, they'd both get you. You're fast, but you're not that fast. So Chris goes, and I'm watching on the NFL Network, Chris goes down to the NFL Combine, and he runs a 4.24 40 at 5'11", 203 pounds. And he breaks the Combine record, runs a 4.24. And I thought, well, good for him. You know what? I was so proud of him. And about 10 minutes later, my phone rang. Hello? Where's Deion now, Coach? Where's Deion now? He's behind me. He's chasing me, Coach. He's behind me. I mean, I could sit here and tell one story after another with all the many players that I've been blessed to have the opportunity to coach and to be around. But this game has given me a lifetime of memories. From childhood, from having the opportunity to play it, going all the way through to coaching it for as long as I have. And there is a poem that kind of sums up what I feel about this game. And it says, I saw a group of men in my hometown. I saw a group of men tearing a building down. With a heave and a hoe and a mighty yell, they swung a beam and a sidewall fell. And I asked the foreman, are these men skilled? The type you'd hire if you wanted to build. And he laughed and said, why, no, indeed. Common labor is all I need. For I can tear down in a day or two what it takes a builder 10 years to do. And I asked myself as I walked away, which of these roles do I choose to play? I think every day we have a choice to make. Whether we want to be positive and whether we want to build, or whether we want to be negative and we want to stand on the outside and tear down. And so many people in our society today want to sit on the outside because it's so much easier to sit on the outside and criticize and tear down and be negative than it is to put your hat on every day, roll your sleeves up, and go to work and trying to build something special. I cannot thank the community in Birmingham enough for opening its arms for us as we came in here, for everybody that jumped through all the hoops they did to make this possible, for us to be able to even play games here and to be able to pull it off. But the support that we received as a hometown team was unbelievable and a big reason that we were able to have our success. So I feel very, very blessed to have had the opportunity to be here. We talked earlier about, I got into, I'm with Balch Sports here in Birmingham as my agent, and Russ Campbell and Patrick Strong. And they both said, well, you're coming to town, there's great food in this town. I said, well, send me your top 4 restaurants. And they both sent them to me, and they were different. So I talked to somebody else. I said, send me your top 4 restaurants. And they were 4 more. So now I got 12. So I started a list. And I sat down and I wrote down in this city, I said, okay, I've eaten at Hot Fish, Dyron's Low Country, Automatic Seafood, Helen, Bottega, Paramount Sports Bar, Bamboo, really good sushi, El Barrio, Roots and Revelry, East West, Botella, Blueprint, Ovenbird, Southern Kitchen, Eugene's, great chicken if you hadn't been there. The Yard, Perry's, that pork chop is like a 3-day meat sweat if you eat the whole thing. Don't try it. Saw's Soul Kitchen. I mean, so many great things going on in this town, from the restaurants to the people, to so many great things. I've truly enjoyed our time here, and I can't thank y'all enough for giving me the opportunity to be here. I don't know if I need to open this to questions, if you want me to open it to questions. So, like I said, I don't get to talk at home, so this is about my only opportunity. So, is there any questions I can answer for anybody? Yes, sir.
Congratulations on winning the championship, but Coach, that was last season. How's your team looking? How's it coming together as you look at this coming season?
You know, well, that was the thing when we won the trophy. I got off the field, I called my father, and he said, congratulations, great win, team did a super job. But last year's over, what are you going to do to get next year? I mean, pretty much, and that was about an hour after the game. But you know what? I feel really good about the nucleus coming back. I had asked the question, what is the normal attrition rate from a football team from one year to the next? And they told me, they said, I don't know. We haven't had a spring league that's finished one season, a full season since the early 80s. But I feel really strong right now that I think if a player is not on an NFL roster, that we will have a really high return rate. So I really like our team. I think we're going to get a much better idea in that final 5 or 10% that are going to get added through free agency or draft as we get into January. But I think we're going to have a really good nucleus coming back. And I know as long as we've got guys like Bo Scarborough that are in the return to come back here and play for the Stallions again, I feel really good about where we are. But the difference between winning and losing is a play. I mean, I believe we had 2 games that were decided by more than 1 score. And so when you look at it, especially with some of the rules we had in this league, so the margin between winning and losing is very small, but we're going to do everything we can to bring this second trophy back to Birmingham. Yeah. I love it. Protective Stadium is unbelievable. It is an awesome environment. I said I had the opportunity to play and coach at Legion Field with all the tradition and the history and all the great games that have been played there. Beautiful place, but it's not the state-of-the-art facility like Protective Stadium. I think it'd be hard-pressed to find anybody that can better that stadium around the country for what we had the opportunity to do. I thought it was incredible. It was awesome. Yes, sir.
What impact, if any, do you think the league will see with return of XFL coming?
I don't know. I think what's going to be unique, the XFL is going to be another spring league that is starting this year. I look at the number of players that were in our draftable roster. We couldn't take them all. I think there's enough players to support 2 leagues, because once you get out of college, if you're not in the NFL, a lot of these guys don't want to go to Canada to go play. They'd like to be able to stay home and play. And I think there is enough talent, especially when you looked at the product that we had on the field this year. The number of players that had the opportunity to get into an NFL camp after our season, over 50 players in our league went on to get into a camp. I think there will be enough talent to go around. They are going to start the week after the Super Bowl. And so they're going to be competing with March Madness and Augusta and a lot of those things, where we're not going to start ours until April 15th, right after the week of the Masters. So I think there's only going to be a couple weeks where we're really going to go head-to-head. They're kind of going to go February and March, and we're going to kind of go April, May, and then into June. So I'm looking forward to seeing it. I welcome it. I think there's enough players to play it that want to continue to play after college, and I think these opportunities are going to be afforded to them. Yes, sir. Any other questions that I could be able to answer? No, again, thank you everybody for having me. I really appreciate it, and thank you for all you do for the city of Birmingham and the game of football. Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody, for coming. This meeting is adjourned.